Well, getting back to Kaya's childhood memories, life sure was a lot of observation. She was not allowed to have friends, and if she made any acquaintances with neighborhood kids, it was short lived with all the moving around that took place. Kaya was not allowed to have other kids over. Well, at least not sleepovers. This was odd, because Junior did have playmates and was about 3 years younger. Kaya never understood the reasons, nor did she dare question her mother. Kaya's mother, Karen, was very protective. Karen always told Kaya that children were trouble and undisciplined. If there was ever a big word that Kaya fully understood, it was the word discipline. Kaya knew to wake up to a light switch. Karen had trained Kaya to get out of bed, make the bed, prepare and eat cereal, then brush her teeth and get dressed all on her own. This is how Karen had time to take care of herself and Junior. The morning routine seemed simple enough, and off to the babysitters was the beginning, middle, and end of the day for Kaya. Karen reminded Kaya, just because other children behave like little monsters does not mean you will. If I even get a report that you have misbehaved, it will be your ass. You understand me? Yes, ma'am, Kaya replied. The response, yes, ma'am, was not only natural to Kaya, it was practically part of her DNA. Kaya was very mature for her age, and because of the behaviors and actions of other children always being pointed out to Kaya on what not to do, Kaya was really living and behaving as a small adult. So I guess you can't really call it a childhood. There was 3 phases of babysitters that really stood out in Kaya's memories, all before the start of schooling. There was Ghettos of Techwood in Atlanta, Georgia, the babysitter Joyce, that was a stay-at-home mom of 3, then an elderly couple that lived on a farm. Growing up in Techwood was no different than anywhere else, I guess. Then again, I did not have anything else to compare it to. We lived in apartments, yet grown-ups called it federal housing projects. Some grown-ups called it the projects, others ghetto for short. We lived off Lucky Street. We must have been lucky because we had a lot of neighbors. I remember it being a great time. I loved playing with the other kids. When you walked out in your backyard, you had other kids in your backyard too. I did not have to worry about Mama not allowing other kids over. There was no choice. There was another old lady that lived close by, and when Mama went off to work, that old lady would watch over us. She was the babysitter, Mama called her. This was before Junior was able to follow me around so well, so he had to stay inside a lot. The kids in Techwood knew how to have a good time. The summers of Georgia are mighty hot. Pop the cap on a fire hydrant and instant relief. We never wore many clothes in Atlanta. If I got in any kind of trouble, it was mainly for not having my shirt on. I grew up around very talented people. They always knew how to sing and dance, could make music with sticks and pots. Life was so simple. Then one day, I remember the teasing started. Some older kids came around and started to pick on us, kicking feet and taking toys. One of the bigger boys even stepped on a popsicle house a younger boy was making. The little boy started to cry. I got mad and stood up to the older boy. He shoved me at the shoulders and I fell right down on my backside. He said, "You better stay on your ass, cracker." The boys all laughed and walked off. The kids I was playing with and stood up for started laughing too. A couple of them pointed at me saying, "Cracker, you a cracker." As the laughing continued, a parent came out of her home to check on us. Her child told her what happened. Then she turned to me with a gentle smile and hands out saying, "Child, are you okay, baby?" I was confused. I don't remember being pampered or cared for like this. Her face, so genuinely kind. Her smile, so bold. Teeth so white. The sun made her face look so warm. I almost felt this is what love should look like. It should feel warm and have arms extended asking to hold you. Then one kid yelled out, "Don't touch her, she's a cracker." The lady whipped her head around, and with a deep southern voice, yet still not a yell, she scolded the child, saying, Kaya is not a cracker. She is white chocolate, child. She lives here with you, now don't she? Now stop all this nonsense. She brought me to my feet and gently held my hand, guiding me to walk with her. I remember this was strange. I always saw other kids being walked by their parents, but my mother had me trained differently. I was just a little disciplined robot, if anything. She took me over to the steps of the old lady that was the sitter and sat down with me. She asked, Are you okay, child? I replied, Yes, ma'am. I stared back at the children playing. Then my mind started to wander, so I asked, Am I in trouble? With a deep, soulful laugh, Heavens be, child, why would you think such a thing? I answered, 'Cause you took me away from the others. She smiled without showing teeth this time. She said, Honey, I saw you stand up to that older boy from my kitchen. What in the world is going on in that head of yours? I sat and thought of her exact words. What is going on in that head of yours? Over and over again. Then I thought, is there something going on in my head? Maybe I took too long on this interpersonal journey, 'cause her knee nudged mine and she said, You have to be careful. Some of these boys will hurt you. Why? I asked. 'Cause they don't have fathers teaching them to be gentlemen, she replied. I thought about that. I never noticed there were no daddies around. My daddy wasn't around. I just thought it was normal. So I looked up at her and said, What is a gentle man? She smiled, took a deep breath, tilted her face to the sun, and said, A gentle man is kind and honest. He knows how to work hard, be responsible, and respect a woman. Now I thought about what she was saying, and I wanted to know more. How does a gentleman respect a woman? She placed her elbows on the steps behind her, leaning back, stared out to the skyline like she was referring to an angel. She said, He always tips his hat when passing by, always opens a door for her, never lets her walk curbside, and is always honest, even if it hurts her. He never hits a woman and will fight if need be for her honor. That boy should have not ever touched you, she said. I thought about it and replied, It's no problem. He was picking on the other kids and they are smaller. I was being a gentle man. She laughed and said, Oh no, child, you cannot be a gentle man. You are a girl, so you must learn to be a lady. I am sure I made a face, 'cause she laughed kindly with me, not at me. So because she was so kind, I asked, What is a cracker? Her face was a little more serious now. She sat up. Well, cracker is a nickname for white people. I looked at her and I was confused. She looked at me deeply and was kind and slow in her approach. White people that have skin color like yours. I looked down, then I looked over at her, and I remember that very day being taught color. I looked at the kids playing. I felt sad, because at that moment, I learned how to see color. Never before did it ever seem to matter. The kids playing were kids. Now a color had been introduced and I was different. A little fearful, I turned to the lady and said, "What is what chocolate?" She replied, "Well, child, that is what you are." Still confused, I looked at her. She said, "When people of color and white people fall in love, sometimes they have kids that still end up with white skin, but in their blood, they are chocolate." Chocolate. Why, the term of chocolate. It is brown. I have never seen white chocolate. My daddy was not chocolate. My mama was not chocolate. What was this lady saying this? She must have known I was confused and upset. She placed her hands on my shoulders and said, "Your mama will explain it one day when you're older. You are still one of us." Well, weeks later that bully came back. He was not all that scary. Walking up in the green striped shirt and brown corduroy pants that whistled the whole way. It gave me plenty of time to prepare. He really was not that much bigger than me. Yet today he had his hair combed where it stood straight out like a giant birthday balloon, not his normal tiny braids. I stood up again, ready this time. Only two of the smaller children were too small to run away. The bully, with two of his buddies, stand in front of him with smiles on their faces. And the older one says, "Well, well, well, if it ain't the cracker that hangs out with all the babies." I stood tall and looked him in the face and said, "Well, if it ain't the boy that will never be a gentleman, maybe your daddy should have taught you some manners before he left." All the kids' mouths dropped wide open. One kid even started to giggle. Not even sure he knew why. I think he was just a giggler. This made the bully very angry. Then fingers went into a fist and he drew back. The crick of a screen door draws his attention. One of the grown-ups stepped outside to see what was happening. They did not say anything, mind you, just stepped outside, looked in our direction. The bully dropped his fist to his side and spoke quietly. "Well, you're so smart and you hang around babies all day. You don't even hang out with kids your own age. You don't know anything about being a gentleman. You're a kid, and you're a girl, so you will never know anything about nothing. Cracker." I stood firm, two fists by each side, staring him down. Then he smiled and said, "Let's not fight. Hey, you want to be grown up? Then you need to learn how to talk like one. Grown-ups eat anything they want, and when you're grown up, you don't talk like a baby. They give you whatever you want to eat. You like birthday cake, right? If you want birthday cake, not on your birthday, you have to talk like a grown-up, and you'll get it for sure." Completely taken off guard and unfamiliar with manipulation capable of some kids, it appeared he was making a truce and seemed to want to be friends. He came in close, placed his hands over his mouth, and whispered in my ear. When it was over, he said, "Now get out of here and tell Nana Thorne what I taught you." So I did. I ran up the steps and right in the house. I remember sliding across the linoleum as I was trying to make that hard right turn. Then the sound of the screen door slamming closed behind me. I passed the kitchen counter, picking up more speed, when Nana Thorne steps into the kitchen about the time I was passing the table. I hit the brakes. But knee socks and linoleum still only have about a 5-foot braking distance. Nana was about 3 feet away. After crashing into her very soft bellies, I pushed away for some air and then looked up. "Settle down, child. The babies are sleeping." With all that excitement, I said loudly, "Fuck you." Ending it with a giant smile on my face, I could not wait for my surprise. Her eyes got so big, it pushed all those wrinkles away. She really does have eyeballs, I thought. Then she reached down, grabbed my ear with a strong twist, dragged me into the bathroom. What is wrong? I thought. I do not want to eat birthday cake in the bathroom. She took a bar of soap and then she squeezed my cheek so hard my mouth opened and shoved it in my mouth. It was the worst taste in the world. I spit it out and jerked away. Then she pulled me by the hair until she got a hold of my cheeks again. Then holding the back of my head and shoving with the other, I was jumping around like a cat with tape on its feet. Well, all that struggling came to an end after I swallowed the bar of soap. She stared at me. I did not feel so good. Then I felt like I was going to throw up. With much abdominal discomfort, it happened. A very loud hiccup with a giant soap bubble that left my mouth and floated across the room.